A warning from a coalition of many mental health service groups. They're all very concerned.
Absolutely, Simon. They are very concerned, and this is their annual 2021 report. And this is a coalition of 240 organisations that includes the British Psychological Society, Mind, Young Minds, Beat, the Eating Disorder Charity, all of which we have heard, and many more, also local and community organisations as well. And in their report, they say that mental health services for children and young people are facing really significant financial challenges, of course exacerbated by the pandemic. And they say that this is hitting particularly the voluntary and the community sector, as they say they make up the majority of early support for children and young people. Now, in summary of this report, they say that these financial concerns are so concerning in that they are going to have an effect across the whole of the mental health care sector, and they're calling this a domino effect, if you like, a knock-on effect. And what they're concerned that this is going to lead to a reduction in the number of services that they're actually going to be able to offer. And Simon, not only that, they're saying that services are fundamentally struggling to keep up with demand, because particularly the pandemic has really worsened mental health for children and young people across the UK. The report has found that they are reliant, these voluntary and community organisations that make up such a big chunk of early care, that they're reliant on short-term and fragmented funding, and that's because some of them are organised by local councils and some of them are organised by NHS services. Now, this coalition has made a series of recommendations to the government, and they include setting up a support network of early hubs for early intervention, Simon. But let's now have a listen to a 23-year-old student. His name is Antonio Ferreira. He's a 23-year-old student in Essex, and he has actually been in the mental health system for nearly a decade. I think it's important that we hear from people who are actually at the heart of this story, and he's been telling me about his diagnoses and his experience, and he speaks very positively about the effect of early intervention.
For me, my diagnosis is schizophrenia and emotionally unstable personality disorder, which can also be known as borderline personality disorder. Dealing with that, again, it was very difficult. It was a lot of trial and error, and, you know, what if this and what if that, and could it be this and could it be that? And so it was a very frustrating and confusing stage of my diagnosis. But once I came to terms with it and, you know, took the I guess the courage to understand it better and to really learn about it, things became a bit clearer and less confusing. And so, you know, treating that schizophrenia was less frustrating, I should say, because I could identify that I was hearing voices. You know, I could identify my triggers of when I start to isolate myself and when I start to go into a depressive state. And so treating it as time went on became much more straightforward. When I used to be asked, how can we help you? I'd always say, you're the doctors, you tell me how you're helping me. Now it's more so, I need to know how you can help me. You know, you don't ask me the question, I tell you, this is what works for me. This is, you know, what I've seen work for me, and this is what is helpful and isn't helpful. And so this is what I require. And so, you know, every transition at first, I guess, it starts off overwhelming. But in due time, with progress, you start to realize where it's beneficial and how it really can, you know, aid you in every step of the way you're taking.
So there you go. I mean, you can hear firsthand the impact of early intervention, and he has had a huge range of treatments. And he says that, you know, if any of one of them were taken away in the background, because this is because of a lack of funding, if any of them were to be taken away, he said he perhaps would not have the same outlook on life.